Picture this. You are standing at an ATM on a Tuesday morning. Nothing unusual. You have done this hundreds of times. You insert your card, punch in your PIN, and request your cash. And then the screen flashes two words that send a cold shot of panic straight through your chest. Transaction declined. Your account has money in it. You know it does. So what just happened? And more importantly, is this about to happen to more Australians than anyone is prepared to admit? Stay right there, because what I'm about to reveal in this video is something every senior in this country needs to hear before it catches them completely off guard. Welcome to Vertex Wealth Australia, the channel that tells you what the banks won't, what the government buries in fine print, and what the mainstream financial media glosses over because it makes powerful institutions uncomfortable. If you care about your financial security and retirement, you are exactly where you need to be. Subscribe right now if you haven't already, because we do not waste your time here. Every video matters, and this one matters more than most. Let us start with what is actually happening across the Australian banking landscape in 2026, because the picture is far more serious than most people realize. Over the past several years, Australia's major banks, the Big Four and beyond, have been engaged in a quiet but aggressive retreat from physical banking infrastructure. Branch closures have been accelerating at a rate that should alarm anyone who relies on in-person banking. ATM networks have been shrinking. And the shift toward digital-only banking systems has been moving faster than the population most affected by it, older Australians, has been given time or support to adapt to. Here is a number that should stop you cold. Australia has lost thousands of bank branches and ATMs over the past decade. Towns that once had 3 or 4 banking options now have one. Some regional communities have none at all. And in 2026, that trend has not slowed down. It has accelerated. The banks call it modernization. The seniors being left behind call it abandonment. And they are not wrong. Now let us get into the specific reason your card might be getting declined. And it is not always what you think. The most obvious assumption is insufficient funds. But in 2026, there are several other triggers that are catching Australian seniors completely off guard. The first is fraud detection algorithms. The major banks have significantly upgraded their AI-driven fraud monitoring systems, and while that sounds like a good thing, and in some ways it is, the unintended consequence is a dramatic spike in false positives. Transactions that look unusual to an algorithm, a purchase in a different suburb, a slightly larger withdrawal than your recent pattern using your card at a new retailer, are being flagged and blocked automatically. No phone call first. No warning. Just a declined transaction while you are standing in a supermarket queue with people behind you. The second trigger is something almost nobody is talking about: card expiry and the notification gap. Banks are increasingly relying on digital notifications, emails, app alerts, SMS messages, to tell you that your card is about to expire and a new one is being issued. For seniors who do not regularly check emails or who are not enrolled in mobile banking apps, these notifications go unseen. The old card stops working. The new card is sitting in a pile of unread mail or was sent to an outdated address on the bank's system. And suddenly, there is no access to funds, sometimes for days, while the situation gets sorted out over phone lines that put you on hold for 40 minutes. Third, and this one genuinely shocked me when I looked into it, there is the issue of dormancy flags. Australian banking regulations require institutions to treat accounts with no transactions over a certain period as potentially inactive. In some cases, banks are adding friction to these accounts, additional verification steps, temporary access limitations, that can manifest as a declined card at the worst possible moment. For retirees who have structured their finances carefully and do not transact constantly across every account, this can be an invisible trap. Let us talk about the regional and rural dimension of this, because it is a crisis hiding in plain sight. For seniors living outside major metropolitan areas, and there are hundreds of thousands of them across Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria, Western Australia, and beyond, the physical disappearance of banking infrastructure is not an inconvenience. It is a genuine hardship. When the nearest ATM is 40 kilometers away and it runs out of cash on a Friday afternoon, That is not a minor annoyance. That is a weekend with no access to physical money. And for seniors who do not drive long distances, who have mobility challenges, or who simply do not trust digital transactions with their life savings, that situation is genuinely frightening. The Australian Banking Association has guidelines around branch closures and access to cash, and the federal government has made noise about protecting cash payment rights. But the gap between policy language and lived reality for ordinary Australians, especially older ones, remains enormous. Good intentions on paper do not help you when your card is declined and the nearest branch closed 18 months ago. Now here is what you can actually do about this, because Vertex Wealth Australia is not in the business of scaring you without arming you. The first thing every senior in Australia needs to do right now is contact their bank by phone or in person and verify that every piece of contact information on their account is current. Address, phone number, email. If your bank sends a replacement card or a fraud alert to an old address or an email you never check, you will not know about it until something goes wrong at the worst possible moment. Second, understand your card's transaction limits and fraud sensitivity settings. Many banks allow you to customize these through their apps or by speaking to a customer service representative. If you are not comfortable with apps, call them. Ask specifically, what would cause my card to be automatically declined? Ask them to walk you through it. You are entitled to that conversation and do not let anyone make you feel otherwise. Third, and this is critically important, do not rely on a single card or a single account for all your financial access. Keep a modest amount across 2 separate accounts if your finances allow it. If one card is blocked, frozen, or lost, you have a backup path to your money. This is not paranoia. This is basic financial resilience, and every financial advisor worth their fee will tell you the same thing. Fourth, make sure at least one trusted family member or support person is aware of your banking arrangements. Not to manage your money, that is yours, but to help navigate a banking crisis quickly if one arises. Hours matter when you have no access to funds. The broader truth underneath all of this is uncomfortable but necessary. The Australian banking system is being redesigned around customers who are young, digitally fluent, and constantly connected. Seniors, who built the wealth that these institutions have managed and profited from for decades, are being systematically deprioritized. That is the quiet scandal at the heart of what is happening in 2026, and it will keep happening unless people are informed, vocal, and prepared. You worked your whole life to have financial security. You are owed access to your own money without drama, without algorithms second-guessing your spending, and without driving an hour to find a working ATM. That is exactly the kind of fight Vertex Wealth Australia stands for. If this video opened your eyes, please share it, especially with a senior in your life who needs to hear it. Like this video so more Australians can find it. Subscribe to Vertex Wealth Australia because we are just getting started on holding these institutions accountable. And drop a comment below. Has your card ever been declined unexpectedly? Tell me your story. Your experience might help someone else. We will see you in the next one. Stay alert. Stay protected.